Okay, so let me go ahead and tell you guys why you should not have been surprised that this movie was going to be as bad as it
Dream,
was.
really.
I don't know who you show an early cut of the movie to, but what was it like the first time you showed the film to friends and family or people you trust? What was it, like, how did it feel? Because this is such a different movie.
I take my black ass down to the movie theater and I go get a ticket for Joker 2. First of all, it didn't even say Joker 2. It said Joker la fa la 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 la. Some other shit that I didn't understand. So that was the first red flag. Second red flag, that shit was fucking ass!
I think that reaction from Kai Cenat is pretty much what a lot of people thought they left the theater of this movie, myself included. I went and saw it late on Saturday evening, and I got to tell you guys right now, I was surprised to see that there were not that many people in the audience. Now, guys, I'm going to be talking about this movie. I would say half of this particular video is going to be talking about this movie. I'm also going to be explaining to you guys why it was out for 7 days. I got a community guideline strike for something completely stupid, but I'll have a much larger video out on that will go along with this video here. I'll probably release that one at 3 o'clock and then release this one here at 6. Not entirely sure yet, but still, though, make sure you guys stick around for all the content that'll be coming out on Monday because obviously I got to just catch up here. Be talking a little bit about this movie. I'm going to try not to spoil it too much, but I'm also going to be explaining to you guys, like I said at the very beginning, why it is that people should not be surprised that this film did as poorly as it did and was as bad as, yes, what you're seeing is correct. The Rotten Tomatoes score and the audience score are actually pretty much matching one another. So yes, we have a lot to discuss in this video, so let us go ahead and get into it. So where do we start at? So the original Joker film with Joaquin Phoenix that was directed by Todd Phillips that came out back in 2019, if you guys remember, it was inspired by Martin Scorsese's The King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. The thing that you guys got to understand about that original film is that it was able to catch on, and it caught on pretty daggone quick, even with the mainstream media basically going out of their way to saying that it would pander and cater to incels, and it might cause them to go out and commit acts of violence, which of course it did not, which of course the vast majority of us that actually watch films and understand films would kind of be able to see that they would not be the case. And of course, if you know how our media is, they're not exactly to be believed. It's at this point in time, it's pretty much all entertainment. But still, though, at the same time, the original film struck a chord. A lot of people liked the original film. Joaquin Phoenix's performance was very good. And of course, you've got all the theories and everything that exist out here on the internet for you guys to go look into. And some of them are actually quite interesting. This film right here, to me, which of course had been built up to be somewhat of a musical, just did not do it for me. And I found it to be kind of boring. It's almost like the Critical Drinker said in his video on this topic, which, by the way, will be in the description box of this video here as well. Why was this film even made? I looked at it and I was like, you know what? Normally when you have musical numbers in a film, they typically are there to kind of help advance the plot or kind of explain something a little bit more about the character or the main character or even the villain, whoever. But it's kind of, I'll put it this way here. If you guys remember seeing the early 90s, late 80s, even all the way through the 90s, early 2000s Disney animated films, normally you got musical numbers in those films. It was normally a character singing a song, and it kind of helped explain the plot or what the motivations of the character was. This right here did not do that, and it makes me think that what happened here was that Lady Gaga was brought in only for that there and that alone. She basically didn't have that many lines, not as many lines as you thought she would have had, and a lot of people are wondering why it is that she was almost silent for parts of this film, and of course a lot of people are out there speculating that her scenes were cut and they gave her a lot less dialogue because they weren't happy with her performance. I wouldn't say that that's the case. I would say what happened in this situation is that her whatever they had going on just did not work, which of course also makes you once again question the motivations behind this film, because if you guys remember correctly, Todd Phillips originally said that he did not want to do a sequel.
There really wasn't a need for a follow-up Joker film, and clearly this was meant to just be a standalone movie, without ever setting up some franchise or new world. The director even said later on that there was never a plan to turn it into a series.
I mean this as a compliment. I love this movie so much, I almost don't want there to be a second one, because I love how it ends, and it's just because, and then my mind just starts going, well, imagine where it's gonna go from here.
Right.
In your head, do you know where his story goes from here?
Well, I don't think we're gonna make a second one.
No.
I mean, that's just not in our.
And I mean that as a compliment.
No,
It's
I
not that I
know,
don't
and
wanna-
I
yeah.
agree with you. I mean, I feel the same way.
But even with that being said, it wasn't all that surprising when Warner Bros. Announced they were more interested in a sequel. In fact, early reports implied that they'd be making an entire series of various origin stories. With Joker making so much money, with over $500 million in profits, along with huge cultural recognition, it was inevitable that the studio would be hungry for more, especially after all the failures of the recent DC movie.
Credit to Moon, that video right there will be in the description box. However, before we go on saying that this right here was just another cash grab by Warner Brothers Studios, I'm reminded of an interview, or not really an interview, but a Q&A that Todd Phillips did back in 2020, where he was practically asked the exact same question. Let me roll this.
We expect it, as you said, it was a success. Please tell me there's going to be a part 2.
So he's asking about it. I don't know if you guys can hear the questions up there. Can you? Okay, yeah, he's asking about the sequel.
They can hear it.
Okay, and you know, the truth is, what Joaquin and I love about this movie is how it connected thematically. The things we were trying to do really resonated. I'm talking about the underneath. You know, I joke, I say this. Everybody wants to talk about the spark, but this movie's really about the powder, and I think that's what made people connect. If we were able to find another theme that resonated in the same way, that didn't feel forced, we would very much be interested in exploring another one. I know Joaquin thinks there's a ton of exploration to be done with Joker. I know I love it too and love working with him, but we haven't really sat down and figured that out and talked about it. Obviously the studio, when a movie that costs $60 million does $1.1 billion or whatever around the world, they want that.
So maybe Todd Phillips did want to make a sequel. But if you guys remember correctly, I said at the very beginning of this video, you shouldn't be surprised that this movie was going to suck, especially given the recent articles that came out about how it was basically telling, they were telling the fans of the original film to basically piss off. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because Todd Phillips, and you shouldn't be surprised, Todd Phillips is the same guy who brought us The Hangover 2 and 3. I didn't even like the first Hangover film. The other two I didn't even watch because I knew they were going to suck. But the point is this right here. This right here is a guy who is not good at doing sequels. However, to sit here and say that he would not be on board with doing a sequel or to say that he did not want to do it, I think is a bit of a stretch given his history of making sequels. Very, very bad sequels. I mean, this right here is not John Milius giving us Magnum Force after Dirty Harry. This right here is not James Cameron giving us Aliens after Alien. This right here is not what this right here is. This right here is a guy who, quite frankly, does not have a problem doing sequels, even if they're bad. And obviously, this particular sequel was bad. So what do I actually think? Well, guys, I normally don't go watch musicals. I've never really and truly been into musicals. I went and saw this film last night, which of course would be Saturday night because I'm recording this video right here on a Sunday afternoon. I went and saw this film at like 12 o'clock at night. Now, granted, I have a tendency to do that. I have a tendency to go to the movie theater for the very, very last showing because it's the one time that I can actually sit down, enjoy it, watch the film, come on back, collect my thoughts for a second, and go to bed. And I'm ready to go the next day. I mean, it is the actual weekend, and quite frankly, I had nothing better to do with my time because I received a community guideline strip. But the point is this right here. This movie right here was not appealing in any way, shape, or form, and it does look like they went out of their way to absolutely destroy their original creation, which brings me to my next point. So what was the actual future of the Joaquin Phoenix Joker or potential Joker franchise? So this right here is where I'm going to be giving you guys a bit of a rant. So here's the thing about the Joker. I'm a Batman comics buff. He's my favorite superhero, always has been. I've always been familiar with the Rogues Gallery, whether it be Batman, the Riddler, all the way down to freaking Condiment King, which was obviously a gag. The point is this right here. This particular Rogues Gallery, you could create any and every amount of films from any one of these characters. I mean, right now you're doing a miniseries featuring the Penguin. I'm talking about the Colin Farrell version, which, by the way, came from the one that starred Pattinson, or Pattinson, whichever one you might recall. But still, the fact of the matter is this right here. There's a lot of different ways you could have gone with this, and I don't think that they ever really and truly wanted to franchise this into the Clown Prince of Crime. Let me explain. And yes, I'm going to want comic book buffs to please come in and join the chat or come in here and leave a comment. I would really love to hear what you guys have got to say. And I also am going to need you guys to correct me because I know I'm going to probably get a couple of things wrong because anybody who's subscribed to my channel knows that I do my content raw. Here's the thing. There is no actual definitive explanation on the Joker's origin story. Many people see the Killing Joke and they automatically think that this right here is the actual origin, when in reality it's not. He would later on reveal in another comic, I cannot remember which title it was, my thinking is maybe it was Endgame, where the Joker basically said that maybe my origin could be this right here, maybe it could have been that there, or maybe it's multiple choice. My thinking was that this film right here would be a standalone film with no actual follow-up. And what they would do is that they would make a film later on, like a Batman film, where you would actually have the Joker and you would find out that the Joker, the clown prince of crime, got his inspiration from this guy named Arthur Fleck, who was downtrodden, left behind by society. And that right there is the direction I thought they were originally going to go. And I thought that maybe if they made a part 2, they might would, I don't know, maybe try that again. As a matter of fact, it's kind of hinted at when they call Harleen Quinzel. She's not referred to as doctor, but Harleen Quinzel, they call her Lee over the course of the film. So maybe that right there was designed to be inspiration. I really and truly don't know what the hell these people were trying to do. But if you were going to make a Joker sequel, then maybe what you should have done was done a follow-up where there's actual more anarchy, more chaos. And of course, the character of Arthur Fleck disappears or dies off. And then the actual clown prince of crime got his inspiration from that guy. Basically, all these negative reviews you see, you should have expected them. Okay, especially given the type of stuff that they've been putting out recently in these articles. Basically, they basically told you that if you were a fanboy of the first film, you were not going to like the second film. And if you didn't like the second film, then you quite frankly can piss off. You're toxic. But, you know, basically when filmmakers and writers start attacking fan bases, that right there should tell you right there that they themselves know their product sucks. But then again, though, given the current environment, given the current bubbles we all live in, it shouldn't shock anybody that Hollywood is not exactly producing A+ content anymore. But let us get back on point. Which, that right there could still be the direction that they go, but I highly doubt that if Warner Brothers wants to save their product, they would allow Todd Phillips to even touch it. Like I said before, Todd Phillips has a history of making very, very bad sequels. Hangover series, once again, I got to mention it one more time. The point is this right here. These people took a dump on their original product. The Joker itself, the original 2019 film, was a loved film. It was a liked film. A lot of people actually enjoyed that film. I thought it was a relatively decent film on second viewing. Very, very good on first viewing. Decent film on second viewing, because sometimes the second viewing is where you actually see where the problems in the movie are, not the first time. Yes, my brain works like that. It also did that with Last Jedi, I'm not going to lie. But still, though, the point is this right here. This right here felt like they completely took a dump on their own product and even took a dump on their fan base. It really and truly was not that impressive of a movie. It was not that good of a film. And yes, all the negative reviews out there are in fact accurate because, like I said before, this movie absolutely sucks. However, it does lead me to one last thing, a bit of a small rant to end this video. Look, if you're going to make, and I'm guessing they're trying this now with the Penguin series. If you're going to make Batman films, if you're going to start back and go into the world of Robert Pattinson as Batman, as a potential younger Batman, which of course the guy's really like 37, 38 years old, he just passes off as a younger Batman, then maybe you should try exploring more of Batman's rogues gallery besides the Joker. Joker fatigue is in fact real. You've got the Penguin, you've got Two-Face, you've got, oh my God, who else? I mean, I understand that you had Carmine Falcone in that Pattinson film, but still though, you've got other people. Rupert Thorne, you can go to the animated series. You've got the Riddler, which they did use, I thought, a very, very good way. But why so much on the Joker? You've got Poison Ivy. You've got, who else? The Mad Hatter. I mean, Batman's rogues gallery was absolutely insane. I mean, Mr. Freeze, who else? I mean, it's insane. There's just so many daggone villains, I can't name them out there outside of Bane and Killer Croc and, you know, maybe Clayface. But still, though, there's a lot of different villains that you could use. Why the fixation on the Joker? I mean, give it the hell up. I think people really and truly have Joker fatigue. Now, with that right there being said, I do got to talk a little bit about this community guideline strike, and I'm going to go ahead and close the video out. So, I received a community guideline strike on last Sunday. I had some content planned to go, and of course, what happened was I got a notification saying that they took down one of my videos and I couldn't post for 7 days. These community guideline strikes don't make any sense, and the reason why they basically gave me a community guideline strike, according to YouTube, according to Google's explanation, is that it was misinformation. It was the video that I did on the second Trump assassination attempt, or it was the information that had come out. They said it was misinformation. They basically were telling me, look, this right is a bunch of crap that you put up here, which I think is something that, quite frankly, they shouldn't give you a community guideline strike for. I understand the hate speech guideline, even though I don't agree with it. But still, though, at the same time, though, it doesn't make any daggone sense because there is freedom of speech. But, of course, as you guys can see, the Google gods out there don't exactly believe in this, which is something I'm going to be talking about a little bit more in my video, further explaining the whole situation and what I'm going to be doing going forward, because let's be honest, it's bullshit when you put out a video that doesn't have any offensive language in it at all or anything, and then all of a sudden they take it down and suspend you for 7 days and they screw with your money. Either way though, guys, make sure you guys please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video. We'll talk more about that in the other video that I have coming out to go along with this. That video will probably be coming out at 6 o'clock tomorrow, and this one will probably be coming out at 3. I also want to talk about the hurricane, so make sure you guys stick around. Once again, like button, subscribe, share the video, sound off, and I'll see you guys later.